The N-tier Odyssey, a cosmic leap for integration in distributed architectures.
Countdown for liftoff, T-5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. We have liftoff.
Welcome to the N-tier Odyssey, your guide to navigating the vast and fascinating universe of integration and distributed architectures. I'm your host, Rajita, and with 15 years of experience in enterprise integration, let me tell you, I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, and I've seen the downright galactic-sized messes. Today, we're boldly going to go where few methodologies have gone before. Let me introduce you to a game-changing, patent-pending methodology I have developed called Hop Along, a structured approach for tackling the unique challenges of integration in N-tier distributed architectures. But first, imagine this. The Nebula Nexus story. Picture this. A futuristic initiative called Nebula Nexus, a next-generation interstellar logistics platform. Ambitious? Absolutely. The team behind it was as agile as they come, ready to take on the galaxy. They divided their work into vertical features, which I like to call the Comms Command Center, a real-time communication module, the heart of interstellar coordination. The Star Viewport, the user interface or the UI where vast expanse of data is visualized. The Astro Processing Core, the powerhouse of data processing and computation. Now, this is a very simplistic example. Each of these modules is not a tier, but it's a module that can consist of many tiers. So the team sprinted forward with enthusiasm, confident that they were building a Galaxy-class solution. In early sprints, they poured all their energy into the Comms Command Center. It was their pride and joy, built entirely on the cloud with cutting-edge microservices. It could track spacecraft in real time as they zipped across the galaxy. I mean, how cool is that? The team celebrated when it went live, but here's the twist. There were no business users for it yet. The downstream systems, aka the Star Port, remember the Star Viewport, our UI module? It wasn't operational. No thought had been put into it. Fast forward a few sprints later, the Star Viewport, still tied to a legacy system, was about to go live. It was supposed to display the tracking results from the Comms Command Center. But when it tried to consume the JSON responses, everything fell apart. It was like expecting a handshake and getting a slap. Completely incompatible. And here's the kicker. The team knew they'd be integrating with this legacy system all along. This is what happens when teams get caught up in vertical slicing. It's like focusing on making one spaceship fly without ensuring that the entire fleet is coordinated. In isolation, the Comms Command Center worked beautifully. But in the larger system, kryptonite. And if you're a fan of Superman, you know kryptonite is a fictional mineral from his home planet Krypton. While Superman is incredibly powerful, kryptonite weakens him and can even harm him. In this story, siloed thinking is the kryptonite that weakens integration projects and threatens their success. It's important to note that this example is intentionally simplistic. In reality, end-to-end integration projects have far more layers and interconnected systems than this example suggests. Components like APIs, databases, CRMs, and serverless functions often number in dozens or even hundreds in complex architectures. So here's the problem with the traditional approach. Here's the thing. Integration projects aren't application development projects. They operate on a completely different level. In app development, you're typically working with 2 to 3 tiers, like a front end, a back end, and maybe a database. It's like piloting a small shuttle. You have direct access and control over all the systems. Integration projects, though, they are on an N-tier architecture spread across distributed systems. They're a completely different beast, with an intricate web of interconnected components. Imagine juggling systems like multiple APIs, handling both REST and SOAP protocols, seamlessly tested and managed with tools like Postman, which empowers developers with its flexibility and ease of use, on-prem file shares, and modern cloud blob storage, solutions like Azure Blob or AWS S3, relational and NoSQL databases side by side, each with its unique quirks, data warehouses, those massive analytics engines like Snowflake or BigQuery, external vendor systems that require specialized handshakes, secret management tools like Azure Key Vault for securely storing sensitive credentials, serverless functions, small but powerful solutions like AWS Lambda, middleware components such as message brokers like Kafka or RabbitMQ alongside legacy enterprise services or service buses like MuleSoft, and of course, CRMs, ERPs, the list just goes on, identity platforms, Azure AD, Okta, it just never ends. Each of these tiers and the hops between them introduce unique dependencies and potential points of failure. Even if one hop is ignored, it's like pulling the wrong lever on a spaceship and triggering a cascade of malfunctions. Accounting for every hop isn't just important, it's mission critical. And here's the kicker. No platform, no matter how cutting edge, can solve this problem for us. Integration projects don't fail because of lack of tools or modern technologies or state-of-the-art what have you. They fail because of a lack of perspective. What's needed is not a new technology, but a paradigm shift. It's about embracing a shift in mindset, seeing integration as a holistic journey, not just isolated problem solving. Introducing the hop-along methodology. So before we go any further, how about we take a little break for a little space joke? Why did the astronaut break up with his girlfriend? Because he needed space. All right, so introducing the hop-along methodology built for these exact challenges. And I don't mean about the astronaut breaking up with his girlfriend. The challenge before that, a bigger challenge. And yes, this hop-along methodology is patent pending because it's that innovative. So let's break it down, folks. Number 1, pre-sprint activities. Here's where we start by building a sequence diagram. Think of it as your cosmic roadmap. Skipping this step That's like launching into deep space with no flight plan. Sure, you might make it, or you might crash and burn spectacularly. Number 2, sprint planning. Here's the secret to success: lateral slicing. Slicing horizontally, not vertically. Every sprint includes at least one story from each tier or hop. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I include everything, all these different stories from all these different hops, without overwhelming a team that has a finite capacity? Well, I'm glad you asked. In the early sprints, it's all about the basics: defining boundary conditions, setting up interfaces, and marking those interactions. Think small, manageable tasks, 1 or 2 pointers that move us systematically through the sequence diagram, left to right. I want you all to visualize a sequence diagram at this point, folks. Number 3, sprint execution. Once the plan is set, it's all about execution. We work incrementally across all tiers, ensuring no component is left behind. We deploy regularly, even if it's just a simple hello world. This keeps the system moving and flags issues early on. It also moves solution infrastructure and the non-functional ITs, the scalability, the reusability, security, at the same pace, instead of them becoming afterthoughts, what happens a lot with vertical slicing. And we take an inward-driven approach, letting upstream and downstream systems guide the middleware, not the other way around. Post-sprint activities. Finally, we revisit the sequence diagram after each sprint, refining it as we discover new dependencies or solve existing challenges. This way, we always know exactly where we stand. So what happens with the sprint execution is that we have enablers and we have dev items, we have some marking. All of these activities will help us discover additional hops. And that's an expectation from the execution of the sprints, from the early sprints. So what do we do with that? We go back to our sequence diagram and update it, add these hops. And this way we always know exactly where we are. We have a holistic picture, we have a vision of where we're going, and we're also making sure that all tiers can seamlessly communicate with each other. And then in the next sprint, we devise the stories accordingly. Now, you might be asking, so at what point do we transition to vertical slicing? Because this is not sustainable, right? You can have 20 hops or 30 hops. This is not unknown of in integration projects. And we have to, at some point, say we can only take so much. So this is where we transition to vertical slicing. Once the foundation is rock solid, we can introduce vertical slicing, but only in later sprints. By then, every tier is so well integrated. It's like a finely tuned fleet of spaceships ready to soar. Why hop along works? Number 1, it prevents siloed thinking. Remember, folks, siloed thinking is kryptonite. Integration is about the whole, not the parts. Remember what Aristotle said: the whole is greater than the sum of parts. Number 2, encourages collaboration. Regular communication keeps the team aligned. And here we're not just referring to communication within the team, but our stakeholders, external vendors, all of those systems and people, not just systems, but people that integrate with us, minimizes rework. Early attention to dependencies saves time, adapts to discovery. It evolves as the project progresses, fosters harmony. Every hop works together seamlessly. So here are some closing thoughts. The Nebula Nexus story reminds us that celebrating isolated success is an illusion when it comes to integration projects. With the hop along methodology, we transform disconnected systems into a symphony of interconnected brilliance. Thank you for tuning into the N-Tier Odyssey podcast. Once again, I am your host, Rajita. In our next episode, I'll show you how to take your sequence diagram and transform it into actionable stories to fuel your integration sprints. Actually, I might even show you how to generate a sequence diagram. Stay tuned. Until then, hop along to infinity and beyond.